So, how about that Moon Knight, huh? Well, we'll get into it. Apologies in advance, as I am still recovering from a very bad cold. Apparently not that cold, but a cold nonetheless. It's been rough, but bear with me. So, saw the Moon Knight trailer. No, I will not play it here. I just don't do that. But I'll give my thoughts on what it showed. Yeah. So we see Oscar Isaacs as the character, and this is obviously a series that a lot of these Marvel properties, certainly, it's been a while going through MCU, is that it's dealing with the Marvel of the past 10 years. I guess you could push it 20 years. For some of the earlier MCU films and whatnot and influences, but it always had more of the elements of classic Marvel as well within it, but that's getting fewer and far between. So I imagine there will be Easter eggs and homages to Moon Knight of the past decades of how long the character's been around, but primarily I think this will focus on recent versions of the series, which I did enjoy to a point. I think Warren Ellis did a restart of Moon Knight, and then some other guys came in, and I'm sorry I'm dropping on the names and whatnot, but the artwork was very good, and it was very powerful, and that it evoked a mood and atmospherics within it of dealing with the mental disorder that the character endures. So Moon Knight was basically another Batman knockoff. Marvel, they have Nighthawk and like that. But Moon Knight was a little different. But ultimately, it was that he had three primary alter egos, or aliases, if you will, rather than like Batman just has Bruce Wayne, which is who he's supposed to be, but of course the story is no, he's really Batman all the time. Bruce Wayne is the mask, blah blah blah. Okay, and you get a lot of this with superhero characters. There's always a dual identity type deal going on. So boy, they all have multiple personality disorder, but no, not quite. So I don't think it was, as I seem to recall it. I don't have a lot of Moon Knight stories, probably more than most though, but. These were aliases that he adopted as all a part of his mission. And so there was Stephen Grant, who I recall was the Playboy millionaire personality. And then there's Mark Spector. Mark Spector was, as far as I could tell, was the main one. That's who he really is. And he was the mercenary and all that, so he was involved. I think, as it is now, that he was trained by the Mossad and all that. I think that's the deal. I can't remember exactly. But he, it was soldier of fortune, basically, and that's what got him into trouble. He was killed and then resurrected by the ancient Egyptian deity Khonshu, god of vengeance or what have you. Or was he? Is it all in his mind and he really wasn't as dead as he thought and he just recovered? That's the ongoing thing. But that's where the Moon Knight entity comes from. The third alias was Jake Lockley, who was just a cab driver. But that falls into like Batman would take on these personalities or characters or whatnot that he would pose as, so he could get information and whatnot. And this was kind of the similar thing, but as time went on, it becomes that, no, he actually becomes these people. These are personalities that Mark Spector creates within his psyche. And then, of course, the fourth one would be Moon Knight, which is what he believes is the spirit of this ancient deity taking hold of him to seek out vengeance and all of that. And that's the idea. Of course, if it's all in his head, it's not as fun. But the recent series left that open and kind of suggested like, oh, this is a Twilight Zone episode and it's all in the guy's head and he never was Moon Knight, that sort of thing. And it was all surrealistic imagery and all that, and it got more and more of that rather than him actually doing anything. He's fighting with Khonshu mostly than he is fighting with crime, because he was mostly a street level character. He hung out with the likes of Daredevil and Spider-Man and all that. Well, didn't hang out with them, but they interacted a lot more than he did elsewhere. He eventually, I think he was in the West Coast Avengers and stuff like that. You know, he was one of these guys that was always around. But that's the deal. That's the nature of what you're dealing with. And it seems like that's, at least from this trailer, the emphasis is going to be on that, and leaving it to be this guessing game with this Stephen Grant character that the trailer introduces as, I guess, the main one at first anyway. And he's completely unaware of his other personalities. Now, they seem to have gotten... Stephen Grant appears to be just this average guy working a job and whatnot. He's not the a millionaire guy that was in the comics. So I guess they dropped that because, well, that's too close to Bruce Wayne, you know, and all that. But the other lives that he's living keep crashing in on him, and he's unaware of what's going on. And there appears to be, looks like he's doing some Mark Spector work, and suddenly he finds himself in a vehicle in a chase holding a gun, and he doesn't know what's going on and that sort of thing. And that's what they're going to deal with. So there's going to be some action, and he's going to be involved in it. So, but the surrealism aspects, I'm assuming, will be a part of it. There is a scene where he appears to hallucinate Khonshu coming after him, and he's panicking in the in an elevator, and it turns out it's an old lady looking to get on the elevator and all that. But in that vision of Khonshu, it's very brief. You blink, you miss it, but it does look like the one that they developed for the recent runs of Moon Knight, and where he's got this sort of, you know, skeletal bird beak head with all the wrappings and whatnot, and you know, demanding that he pursue vengeance, because that's, you know, I own your ass now, whatever, you know. And then there's a brief scene where the costume just appears, it forms around him. I don't recall anything like that. It seems like that it was a suit that he designed and put on, but it could be that that's just from his perception, that's how it happens, you know. And then there's a brief scene of him beating the crap out of somebody, and then he gets up and looks at you. I gotta say, the actual Moon Knight scenes didn't look all that impressive. Hopefully they can touch that up, but probably not, you know. But what are you gonna do? But hopefully overall the story and plot and Oscar Isaac's performance wins the day. And you know, he looks okay in the role and everything, based on what I could see. I don't have any problem with that. But I mean, hopefully the Moon Knight scenes are really impressive beyond what I'm seeing here. But you know, it's evoking Egyptian stuff, and it's like wrappings of a mummy and stuff like that. The only time I really saw anything like that was when Alex Ross was doing his Earth X series, and one of the images of Moon Knight, and that's kind of how he looked. He took that on because it's an Egyptian deity that's supposed to be inspiring all of this. So that's what it looks like. It's going to be more akin to these more recent elements, which was, like I said, mostly surrealism and whatnot, rather than any actual plotting for action and adventure, which got old very quickly. And it was interesting, but I don't think that's enough to hold a show. The show, on the other hand, does appear to give he's involved in something. So stuff happens at the same time with the surrealism owing to his condition. So that could work. You know, presence and lighting and costuming notwithstanding, yeah, you might be. I can forgive it. I mean, I've liked some of the CW shows. It's been a while, but I did. so, but other people maybe not. Maybe they're like, it looks cheap or whatever. But hopefully it'll turn out. So I've been looking forward to Moon Knight. But it's going to be on Disney, so I don't know how. It would have been so cool to have seen a Moon Knight on the Netflix days back when they were doing Daredevil and stuff, because I think that probably would have been much darker and more attuned to what the character's about. But maybe we can, I guess it'll be a PG-rated Moon Knight, but maybe just put it on Hulu so you can go dark. But maybe you'll get close enough to where you get a rollicking adventure and it's good enough, and then that'll work. I hope for the best there. But it is one of the properties I was looking forward to. There's quite a few that I'm not. But this one, I hope they don't screw it up. But it is going to be more about the recent iteration of Moon Knight than what had gone on before, at least from what I can see here. So anyway, there you go. Moon Knight is on the way.
Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.